Once you've written your code, it pays to compile your VBA project, and really all this does is check for any obvious errors. In the Visual Basic Editor, and I've got Chapter 13 open, in the Visual Basic Editor you simply click the Debug command from the menu, and then you compile the VBA project. When you click this option, it checks for any obvious mistakes, and I don't have any. And if I go back to debug, it's now dim because it's been compiled. When it comes to debugging, it's also useful to bring up a particular toolbar that's designed for debugging code. So when I right-click the menu bar, I can choose the option Debug, and this brings up the Debug Toolbar, which I'll just move and make more visible. Another toolbar that might be useful to bring up also is the Edit toolbar. If I right-click the menu and click Edit, I can bring up the Edit toolbar. This one here is the Debug toolbar, and this one here is the Edit toolbar. Why I think the Edit toolbar is handy is I can choose a number of statements in my code, and I can comment them out just by using this button here, and now they're all commented out. And if I want to uncomment them out, I can select that same range and uncomment them. So those two buttons are very, very handy. So I'll just move this toolbar up here for the moment. What I want to look at are some of the buttons on the Debug toolbar that are very, very useful. And I'm going to start with the breakpoints. First of all, what I'd like to do is open another file. So I'm just going to close this particular Chapter 13 by going File, Close. And I'm going to open an earlier file, so I'll save that. An earlier file we created called Chapter 3b. When I go File, Open, I can find the file Chapter 3b we made earlier. And what I might do is just quickly compile the VBA project. So if I go to Debug, I can compile the VBA project, and I know there's no obvious spelling mistakes. Now the idea here is you can create breakpoints, which actually allows your code to run and then stop at a certain point, which is really handy when you're slowly trying to find out where the problem is. You can run the code up to that point and then stop, and then you can walk through the code and perhaps run it to a number of points. For example, if I put my mouse to the left of this statement, rows 2 select, I get a little burgundy or maroon circle and some highlighting, and I've just created a breakpoint. I can turn it off and turn it on simply by clicking here. I can also sit on that statement and press the key F9. F9 turns off and on the breakpoint also. And if I wanted to use my Debug toolbar, I'd use the hand. The hand turns the breakpoint on and turns the breakpoint off. And you can also see it's mentioning the key F9 there. So what I'd like to do is create a breakpoint at this statement and create another breakpoint at this statement. You can make as many breakpoints as you like. So now if I go to Sheet 2 in my Excel file, and then I click on my sub-procedure called Watch Range, if I press F5 to run this sub-procedure, it will stop at the statement rows 2 select. So I'll press F5. So it does everything up to this point and then stops. From here I could press F8 and just step through the code. When I was happy, I could press F5 and it would run until the next breakpoint. And from here I could press F8 and step through the code. So when you're working through code, especially if it's doing a do loop or a for next or a for each next, you really want it to just race through the code and then stop at certain points. And that's what a breakpoint does. And I can easily turn those breakpoints off just by clicking.